and welcome to the first edition of ToriJ's video game reviews. I'm your host, Tori, and today I'm taking a look at a personal favorite game from my childhood. From my overall favorite video game franchise, I'm of course talking about the one and the only Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is an action-adventure game developed by Core Design and published by Eidos Interactive. It was released for the Sony PlayStation console in North America on November 14, 1996. It stars Shelley Blond as Lara Croft, an archaeologist adventurer from England who gets a thrill raiding old tombs and stealing old artifacts for herself. Yes, none of this protecting artifacts BS that you hear these days. She wanted them for herself. Without further ado, this is Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider starts off with a woman encased in ice being released after centuries before cutting to modern day where Lara is approached by a man named Larson who works for a businesswoman named Jacqueline Natla. Natla wants Lara to find an artifact called the Scion of Atlantis. This then takes us to the title screen, and I have to say, still to this day, this is one of the most impressive title screens I've seen in gaming. You have the iconic Tomb Raider theme playing in your ear while you cycle through different modes with different items representing that mode, like a book for Lara's adventures, a picture of home for her tutorial level, or signature red sunglasses for screen adjustment. It's just lovely. Going to Lara's house will take you to the tutorial level, which will teach you the basic controls of the game. We have the X button, which allows Lara to interact with her environment by climbing or catching herself on a ledge during a jump. The square button jumps, circle rolls, and triangle will draw her main weapons. You'll want to get the jumping down as best you can, as platforming is a vital feature in certain stages, and it's the only way to avoid enemies while shooting them. Depending on the distance between one ledge to another, you can just jump across, get a running head start. Or sometimes you'll have to jump and hold onto the X button to grab onto the ledge, and sometimes you'll have to do all of the above to get to certain ledges. There's also swimming, which you can do with the jump button and the directional buttons. After you take a swim, the tutorial level is finished and you can move on to the main game. For someone who's considered a loner, she sure does have a lot of people around her. Lara and some unnamed character gets to the entrance of a cave. Lara goes up to open it only for impending death in the form of wolves to come out and kill her partner. Lara cuts her rope, falls down, reveals all her womanly glory, and kill the wolves with ease. But would it have killed her to arm the other guy? After that, you're taken to one of many loading screens before beginning your game. You'll want to remember everything you learned in the tutorial because the main game is hard, really hard. Not just in controls and fighting enemies, but puzzles. Oh yes, puzzles are the bread and butter of the old school Tomb Raider games. I always said this game was a thinking man's game, meaning that if you don't put on your thinking cap, you aren't going to get very far into this game. Whether it's figuring out a hard puzzle, learning where to go, or finding the right key for a lock, the puzzles are even harder than, say, the earlier Resident Evil and Silent Hill games. Tomb Raider is split into 4 zones: Peru, Greece, Egypt, and Atlantis. Once you leave one zone and enter another, you'll get a cinematic cutscene explaining the story, which I'm not going to give away on the off chance somebody watching this has never played this game before and want to see it for themselves. After all, you only play something for the first time once. If you're enjoying this video, then please take the time to glomp that like button. The gameplay is still as clean as I remember it, though it takes getting used to using the jumping mechanic as a means to dodge enemies who attack you while shooting. But you can at least take comfort in knowing that when it comes to your twin pistols, you'll never run out of ammo. Other weapons you collect along your adventure, yes, but your default weapons will never fail you. Each level will tally up things like how long you took and how many secrets you discovered. The story is very compelling and introduces one of the best Tomb Raider villains in the franchise's history, showing us strong women from both the good and the bad. The boss fights are challenging and you have enemies such as wolves, bats, and full-grown bears. It's a good thing Lara is fit because this is not an occupation you want to pick for yourself if you're not. I'd hate to see someone trying to keep up with Lara who couldn't. A surefire way to get a heart attack. Graphics hold up pretty well even by today's standards, though you can always get this on the Tomb Raider remaster and upscale the graphics if you'd like. There's still a certain charm to playing the original game on original hardware with the graphics that were designed back then. Lara looks and sounds great, and I can never get tired of playing this game. The sound is also decent, especially the music. When you're faced by an enemy, the music gets more intense. To the reveal of a secret room, or just the main melody that will be delightfully playing in your head long after you've heard it. Nothing beats the original Tomb Raider game soundtracks. Nothing. I'm pressed for trying to find flaws in what I consider the perfect game, but I'm definitely biased when it comes to it. The game can have a deep learning curve, and the controls can come across as clunky at times, and sometimes the camera doesn't want to cooperate with you. But apart from those small nitpicks, I can't find much wrong with perfection. Overall, Tomb Raider earns its spot as a classic PlayStation 1 and game in general, starting an entire beloved franchise that many people still love to this day. And while we can disagree on the current direction of the franchise, nothing beats going back to the past and reliving those precious moments with the Lara Croft so many of us have come to love. That is all for this edition of ToriJ's Reviews. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I will see you in the next video.